The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Alongside Carson-Newman women's basketball coach Mike Mincey, I'm Michael Watchering, and this is the Eagles Sports Network. CN gets set to host Queens on Saturday at 2 o'clock. And, Coach, you've had this whole week off. We've talked about how important it was to kind of have this week to not have any midweek games. What have you done in practice trying to make sure that they stay fresh physically, but also they're still getting their work in on the court?
I think it's been a productive week in terms of we took one day off. We knew that this week was coming up. It was a planned week to give some certain players some rest, kind of rehabilitate them. In terms of practice, we haven't really changed a whole lot what we're doing. Kind of treated it the same, not going too terribly long, getting in what we got to get done from a conditioning standpoint. Obviously, we're always going to continue to ball handle, shoot, and pass, and that kind of thing. We'll pick it up a little bit more today, and then a little bit more of a preparation tomorrow, getting into the Queens game. But overall, I think it's been good for the kids, been good for the coaching staff, and kind of get re-energized, getting ready to go here for these last 5 games.
You mentioned this outlook for the next 5 games. It starts with Queens, a team that you beat handily over there, but they were without their leading scorer. What do you see from the Royals in preparation for this matchup?
They've played some teams tough. It's one of those games where you got to throw the record out. You can't look at that, and you can't even look at our last game, even though we had a pretty good game over there and came away with a good victory. But number 25 is leading the conference in scoring. I think she's leading the conference in field goal percentage. It's a kid that didn't play against us last time, so we don't really have anything to go back and look at to, how she scored against us, or how she hurt us, whatever. So it's going to be first time her playing against us and us against her, and we'll try to prepare like we would anybody. But our kids know that for every game that right now, every game is important because everything you're trying to achieve, it's important that you can't give a game up, and you certainly can't give a game up at home.
One thing we'll talk about in more depth in a couple weeks when it comes to senior day is leadership. But looking at this group and everything that you've achieved so far this year, we talk about your leading scorers, who are sophomores and juniors, but we haven't really talked about Jekka Simley, Katie Stubblefield, Kayla Newman, and that group that have really kind of been the glue players on this team. How much have they brought to the table and been a cause for success?
I think the veteran leadership that they bring is invaluable. It's obviously pretty cool to have. I kind of joke a lot of times that they're like offensive linemen. They don't mind to take a back seat to, obviously you talk about Harris and Micah and Bree and even Kayla Marisites, who are double-figure scorers, and then you've got your hard workers like Jekka, and they're hard workers too, don't get me wrong, but, they don't mind blocking downfield so that those guys can get into the end zone and score touchdowns. And so when you have something like that, I think you can have a special team like what we have right now, because there's no jealousy out of those upperclassmen and those seniors in particular, like, well, hey, I want to score more, I want to shoot more. They know what their role is, and I think that they actually play their role out perfectly, and that's why we have such a good chemistry. When you're 22-1, chemistry is not going to be a problem, obviously, but we've been very fortunate in that to win a lot of games. They like their role, they like how they play, and they know who the hot person is, and they're going to get them the ball.
Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck Saturday.
Thank you, Michael.
He's Carson-Newman women's basketball coach Mike Mincey. I'm Michael Watchering, and this is the Eagle Sports Network.